Hi, I'm feminist Erin Gibson.
Hi, I'm homosexual Brian Safi.
And this is Attitudes.
LGBT plus issues.
Gender issues.
Pop culture.
Happy birthday, America. You did it again.
Can you handle it? I just heard a compilation of different Canadian artists singing "Oh Canada," and
because
was
it's
so
Canada
beautiful.
Day.
Right, that's why
we're recording on Canada Day.
I got to tell you, isn't that hysterical? We're recording on Canada Day. You know, their Canada Day precedes our America Day, and their Thanksgiving precedes our Thanksgiving.
They and the hashtag first.
They get to it quicker. But
do you know there's this like dividing line here in Canada where some people still call it Dominion Day?
Oh, really?
And so they go around going, don't call it Canada Day. It's called Dominion Day.
Oh.
And do you know that I'll tell you something. And hi, Canadians. I do love a lot of things about this place. But celebrating a day where you sort of got independence, but not really is insane. That's wild.
Fair. Well, I'll tell you what else is wild. The fact that we still call those months July and August, named after two of some of the worst dictators ever lived, Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. Why do we still have?
I didn't know that's why these names.
Yes,
well, we should call him Cindy. I'd love to call one Cindy
and Nancy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not Sid and Nancy. Cindy and Nancy.
Cindy and Nancy. I agree. Absolutely. And then whatever the next
or Laverne and Shirley, that would actually be better.
That would be better. I have to tell you, I'm in New York. The summer is summering. Not a right refrigerator. Oh, please. Let's get you out of here, honey. I'm in New York. It's been lovely. I went to a really good exhibit called Lost New York at the New York Historical Society about all the buildings no longer here, all the things that used to be here that are no longer here. And it was really cool. Really cool.
Just a tour.
They talked a lot about Penn Station, about the original Penn
Greatest
Station.
Generation going to war and then being like, let's tear it all down.
Right. Let's make something absolutely stunning, absolutely hideous. Also, they had a Pride section there. Happy Pride, everybody. And it was two things in the museum, which was wonderful. So one was an army jacket to represent Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And the other one was the violin of Tyler Clemente, which was very touching, but also anything to celebrate, guys, or just two incredibly tragic things.
Wait, what about Stonewall?
No, honey, there were two things in the New York Historical Society celebrating Pride. Anyway, so I hope everyone had a nice Pride. By the way, as far as I'm concerned, Independence Day.
Not the queer clubs of the 20s New York, none of that. Yeah.
No. As far as I'm concerned, 4th of July coming hot off the heels of Pride, a week later off of Pride, to me is just a basic holiday with basic colors. You've taken the Pride colors and you picked some of the worst ones.
The most offensive ones, and you smushed them together.
Exactly. No, but happy Independence Day, everyone, and happy. Hope you had a nice Pride. Yeah, I know.
I guess we do. It's all wrong. It's all fucking wrong. I went whitewater rafting with Mono.
Stop it.
And a bunch of other people.
You had Mono or our friend Mono?
No, our friend Mono.
That's good, because if I were a doctor and someone said, I think I have Mono, I would say, well, here's what you're not going to do.
Raft with a bunch of people. Yeah. Well, our friend Jen Irwin, said she loves to do things with her
No
wife.
relation to Bindi.
No.
Or Steve,
and
R.I.P.
No, Steve Irwin. No, she's a Canadian Irwin. Said, let's go whitewater rafting. We've got a 3-day weekend. And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But then I said, okay, it was like being in a painting. It was so stunning. It was in Squamish. I think so. Like almost to Mount, my brain's not working. Whatever the mountain is here.
Oh, it's
Whistler.
fine. No one here knows.
Whistler. No one here. Whistler. And it was stunning and it was fun.
Nice.
It was cold. I can't believe we did it. 2 hours of whitewater rafting. Me.
Ooh, that's so fun. Were you scared?
I wasn't. I thought I would be more scared, but I wasn't.
The thing that's scary about whitewater rafting.
Have you done it?
Yeah, a long time ago, but you have to sit on the edge. You're not even inside the raft. You're
on the edge with your feet locked in.
That's right.
But you know what? So a couple of times they let people jump in to swim.
Oh, that's fun.
And every time. Oh, and our friend Brian Singleton was there too.
What was he doing there?
He's doing another show up here and he had the weekend off.
Oh, he's so great.
And so, but every time someone would jump out of the raft, you have to pull them in by the shoulder straps of their
like
life
a baby
vest.
Yeah. Or like an eagle.
Like an eagle.
Yeah.
Like an eagle or a baby. Like if you had a baby on suspenders. And when I tell you there's nothing more humiliating than that moment of being pulled up, an adult person being pulled up by straps, by a thing that you're in.
Humiliating. Yeah. I mean, it's like
the
being
most
pulled
degrading
out of a high
thing.
chair. Yeah. That is so.
I would go whitewater rafting again just to watch that because it delighted me so much. There was panic behind pulling people into the boat because there was rapids and stuff. But then as soon as they were in the boat, I did lose my shit. It was so I highly recommend whitewater rafting for anybody. But then making sure you are constantly pulling people into the boat for laugh riots.
Oh, that's wonderful. For the 4th, I'm going to play tennis. And then I'm going to a French restaurant.
Oh,
yeah.
I hope you should switch the order.
You know what? You're right. Butter, cheese, and then tennis.
Lots of cream. Yeah.
Creams, butters, cheeses.
Smothered asparagus. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Then right into the summer heat.
Trout swimming in aioli. Delish.
That sounds and then get right on that court.
Absolutely. Just get right
Put on a diaper and go right on that court.
That outdoor.
Now, do you like tennis more now that you've seen challengers or less?
Well, more because now I like to think of myself as, I often get compared to Zendaya, but now the comparisons are off the charts. So I like it more now. I do.
Okay,
I like
good.
it more.
I just was curious.
I do like it. No, I do like it.
I was
more.
Curious.
Listen, to celebrate my independence, my freedom, and yours, Erin.
I'm still in the saw. I'm still in the saw basement. So.
Wait, can I get one more thing out of the way really quick?
Yeah.
Would you agree that coffee is for adults?
Do you know someone who's giving coffee to children?
Yeah, actually.
I don't think you should give coffee to children. I'm not even sure adults should be drinking it.
Listen,
what's the context?
If you consider me a child, then yes. And I'll tell you what considers me a child. The delicious coffee shop around the corner from where I'm staying, that the coffee is so fucking good, I can't even tell you.
Oh, so you're shitting your pants to drink it so much?
And this is how they give it to you. Are you ready? Because you know I'm an iced coffee because I'm a gay.
Gay people cannot drink hot beverages. It is absolutely. They have it right at the New York archives.
They just can't do it. Not even in the winter. This is how they give it to you when you walk away from there. Like a Capri
Sun. A pouch. Why?
It's the most, Erin, it is you're getting pulled out by the straps, Whitewater River rafting.
It's degrading.
It's so childish. Everyone, when you walk down the street, stares at you while you're holding this pouch. It's just cold brew in a Capri Sun pouch. It's gotten to the point where I don't go to this coffee shop if I'm taking it around the city. If I'm coming straight back here, then I'll go to this coffee shop because
Why? But what's the explanation? They have to have an explanation.
There's no explanation. And
have you asked?
No, because, oh my God, that's the other thing. When they give it to you, they are like,
do they say like top of the pouch to you or something? Is
Gen
there like a
Z
phrase?
eyes staring right at you. They stare. There's always two women behind the counter, probably 22, 23. They stare at you and don't say a word through your order. They just stare at you. And then they hand it to you. In fact, they stare at you so hard that my eyes get nervous. Like my eyes start going like Scooby-Doo Mona Lisa eyes, like side to side, TikTok, Felix the cat.
Yeah. It makes you have like a squidgy sound effect.
No, seriously, I'm like, every time I order coffee now,
And then they're like this.
Yeah. They just stare at me. And then they hand me this.
But I have questions. Is it pre-packaged like that, or do they put the liquid in there and then seal it up for you?
No, they fill the liquid in there. But their to-go hot coffee is just in paper cups.
What's the coffee shop called?
787.
Like,
okay.
What happened to
like
9?
My SAT score. Okay, thank you. It's called 787. It's Puerto Rican coffee. The coffee's from Puerto Rico.
Is this a Puerto Rican pouch? Is this like a...
Don't know about
Oh, wow. You're going to love this. This is the 787 Reddit thread.
Oh, my God.
787,
please.
do better than bagged coffee.
Thank you. Was that the hottest burn in the bunch?
There's no way this is anywhere near the best for the planet to drink coffee. I would be so embarrassed to schlep this fucking coffee colostomy bag around town.
It is a colostomy bag. It's brown liquid. You're drinking out of it. It is truly the most embarrassing thing to happen to me.
Looks like they ordered cups, but instead of cups, a bunch of weed bags arrived and they just said, fuck it.
Truly. Well, I don't know why they do it that way. And then there's a place down the street from me that has the best.
They said, okay, so someone asked them.
Okay, thank God. And
they said plastic is better for the environment and easier to store.
Then what?
Oh, I guess this is bag drinks are pretty common in many parts of Asia. But they're generally thinner, but this bag is thick.
No, it is. It's like honestly, you could put your arm through and it'd be a floating. It's like that. What do they mean plastic is better for the environment?
And they
by
also
the way, that's great.
Apparently, they also don't let you bring in your own cup. So there's no way out.
Here's the thing. I have no problem with drinking something out of a bag, but I don't want to be the only one. Do you understand?
Well, it sounds like there's a whole Reddit community ready to be on board with you.
Like Sergio was saying, in Mexico, a lot of people drink soda out of bag. Great. Keywords, a lot of people. Okay? I don't want to be the only person walking around with a fucking bag. And it's not a bag like that, Sergio. I mean, it literally is like this thick plastic.
It does look like something that blood comes in.
Yeah. Oh, it's an IV bag. It's an IV bag.
It's absolutely an IV bag, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what I don't also love is these finger holes at the top. What is that for? How are you supposed to hold it?
And by the way, the straw makes it to where the pouch doesn't actually close. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So it's not made for this, is it? It's not made for this. I love that there's there's a massive Reddit thread about this.
See, that's the problem. I think what I need to start doing is saying, can you give me a cold brew in a hot coffee cup? I'm fine being ripped off.
But it sounds like
I can't walk around like a child or like an IV. Or like
like an IV bag.
I can't walk around New York like I'm a colon.
Yeah, or like you're at the IV clinic at in West Hollywood.
Correct.
I know it's not called the IV clinic.
No, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's called where they do like hangover
health
infusions
bags
or whatever. Yeah. I can't walk around looking like a health bag. A bag of health over here.
I'm so sorry.
Listen,
the struggle is real.
This week, we are bringing you one of our classique Datelines because we want everyone to enjoy the time off. I think most people have Friday off. If you don't, fuck that. But most people have Thursday and Friday off this week. So please enjoy this Dateline that originally was not available for all tiers, but it's one of our favorites. It involves a true, in my opinion, psychopath who refuses to drink water when they run marathons.
In Arizona.
And so they just end up with salt deposits all over their body. I don't know how else to explain it except for that. And he also loves brands. Remember, he was like, I was sitting there with my iPod Touch, and all of a sudden, my Blue Diamond Almond Breeze was staring at me in the face while I poured it into some Kashi cereal. I mean, it's unbelievable.
A Dyson fan wafted by Drecor Noir off to the...
Exactly.
But really, my favorite part of this episode, besides the defense attorney who is fully unequipped to be a defense attorney,
not up for the job. He's literally saying like, hey, listen, maybe he did do it. What do I know?
I'm just an unfrozen caveman lawyer. Yes.
Right.
But then also we get to introduce to the Christian rock band Skillet.
Hang on a second. I forgot about Skillet. I forgot about Skillet.
There is a long deep dive into Skillets.
And didn't Skillet get divorced? Or something? Wasn't there someone where the husband and wife were both in the band, but all of a sudden the wife got dropped?
Yeah, there was some kind of marital thing.
Something happened.
Which you don't expect from a Christian rock band. You want them to work it out.
You really don't.
You know what I mean?
You really don't. I also want to mention that we have a Vault episode on the Patreon this week. That's patreon.com/attitudes. Erin, I completely forgot about this, but you went to the 2012 Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, where
that's right,
of course,
with Funny or Die.
Obama was campaigning for a second term. That's right. With Funny or Die.
Felt like better times, didn't it?
Are you kidding? You did a bit with Jared Leto and chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah, I offered Jared Leto a chocolate chip cookie and he refused in the rudest way possible.
Nothing's ever shocked me less. Anyway,
that's Vault episode 45 ready for you.
That's right. And also we have our Discord watch parties and movie nights. We're doing this week this new thing we're doing, which is when Erin and I watch and react to clips of things that listeners have submitted or that Sergio has culled. And also, we're on YouTube. If you're not a patron, you can get but a taste of our video episodes. We do free previews now every week. All you have to do is search Attitudes Pod on YouTube. Fabulous.
Let's get into that Vault episode.
Let's do it, baby. Well, the Dateline Vault. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Everyone gets it.
So many vaults.
So many vaults, honey. I'm going to jump right into it this week, Erin, because I got to tell you, Andrea Canning is hosting this one. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't, because this story is pretty chirpy.
Okay.
Remy Raran had the perfect life in New Berlin, New York.
Stop.
You know who that is?
No, I just love that name.
Remy
Is it someone I should know?
No, I thought for some reason you knew him. Like to be like, oh my God, I know him. I thought that's what the gasp was. But yeah, no. Great name. Remy Raran had the perfect life in New Berlin, New York, which is the sentence I never thought I'd utter. But on December 11th, 2012, Remy calls 911 in the evening because his wife, Jen, is not back from a shopping trip. Women, you know?
Yeah, we shopping.
Right. So Remy describes how his day started with his wife. He had just dropped off the kids at school, and that's not like poo-poo. You know what I mean? Like, I know people say that for poo-poo. It's
people do say that.
I mean, you know that people say that.
Yeah, people all over, everywhere. Idaho, Florida, Georgia.
Well, I don't want to have to say it again, but what do they say it for?
Poo-poo.
Yeah. So he wasn't saying it for poo-poo. He was saying it because he really had just dropped his kids off at school. And I have to tell you this, when he came home, he found his wife. And honestly, marketing and branding has worked on Remy Raran like nothing else, except maybe my mom. But honey, he remembers the brand.
Remy got back from dropping the kids off around 8 a.m. His wife, Jen, was in the kitchen.
When I came home, Jen was eating Chobani yogurt and Kashi cereal at the table, and she was on her iPod Touch.
So...
Okay. Okay. We've got specifics, but they're a little distracting.
Very specifics that don't really have to do with the case. Dude, I mean, the Chobani, none of this stuff really had to do with what happened. Anyway, it worked.
Did sales spike after this episode aired?
I hope so. We need to see, we actually should see the numbers on that to see if Chobani yogurt really got a boon from this, or the iPod Touch is going to have a revival. You know what I mean? Since it went away. But I got to say, my mom would absolutely love him. So then Jen, after the breakfast and the iPod Touch and everything, went to the mall in a red Chrysler minivan.
As you do. We have a real red theme today.
It's a real red vehicle. That's what my grandparents called it. Which was 60 miles away, this mall, in Syracuse. Because again, they lived in a tiny town, not even 1,000 people, in New Berlin, New York.
Okay.
But hours later, no one has heard from Jen. Remy even called her best friend Eileen. But her best friend Eileen hadn't heard from Jen either.
Is it our friend Eileen?
It's not our friend Eileen.
She's also from New York.
And it has nothing to do with the novel Eileen or the movie I mentioned that stars Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
None of those things. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Remy had also called and texted Jen multiple times, but hadn't heard from her. That's finally why he decided to call 911. Remy goes to the police station And they say, you should try the Find My iPhone app to find Jen. So he does. He didn't even know about it. And the dot is moving about 20 miles away, but it's in movement. So officers head to where the dot is. They look around. They find nothing. So Remy decides to go look by himself, and he does the play sound on the Find My iPhone to where the location was.
Yeah.
And the phone dings, and it's just the phone abandoned on a riverbank. First big clue in this case. And honey, this case. And I'm not talking, by the way, separate from the case before us, Your Honor, I would also like to speak on, there is not such a thing as a nice, cute iPhone case. Here to say it. Though ye may try, it does not exist. Anyway, this case. Twisty, turny, wild. Meanwhile, Jen's family is driving everywhere they can to try and find her. And after 5 days, Jen's father finds her red minivan abandoned in an apartment complex 8 miles from her house.
Oh,
so,
like the Eminem song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And movie. But not 60 miles away where the mall was. So anyway, the van was empty, but there were some spots of blood in it. At this point, your first question.
And they're sure it wasn't paint?
They're sure it wasn't paint. Okay. Now, Erin, at this point, your first question is probably, but how did Jen and Remy meet? You know? Well, it turns out, and Dateline was one step ahead of you. They know what you're asking at this point. Well, Jen
I wasn't like,
Remy,
what happened to this poor woman? I thought, what? Tell me the backstory. And start from the very beginning, which is a very good place to start.
Correct. So they actually met in high school. They were high school. Am I wrong about that? Excuse me, college. They met as college sweethearts. So
but either way, too young. Go ahead.
Too young. Jen and Remy. Now, I don't think they're in college here. This is just a picture of them together. It was one of the only pictures of them together. But
she has great teeth.
She's fantastic. Seems to be. They were, wait for it, complete opposites. Jen was very sweet and quiet. Remy was loud and honestly annoying. Even in this episode, and even to Andrea, he just talks a lot.
Has anyone ever described you as quirky or odd or a goofball?
Absolutely, including Jen and probably anyone that's ever met me.
He answers a question how I do. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So confident.
But if someone
were you annoying? Absolutely. That's how everyone described me. Growing and becoming the beautiful young woman God intended her to be. Real Whitney energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
would someone describe you as an oddball person in...
My mom would. And she would describe
a blue button down that anyone could just pull off the rack. Would anyone think of you as quirky?
No.
Guy in a blue button down?
Definitely not. But one time, my mom had some it was like they had a little party for something. And I overheard someone asking my mom, like, oh, Brian does a comedy. What's his comedy like? What's his sense of humor like? And she did not know I was listening. And my mom goes, annoying.
Boomers should never have had children. They should have
never.
They didn't want to do it.
At least I was comfortable in my own skin enough to be like, that was very funny.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. Okay. So Jen's best friend, Eileen, also agreed about Remy's personality. And I'm really just showing you this because Eileen is a major figure in this episode. And so I just want you to see her just so that you get familiar.
Remy is a real force.
Yes, we knew when he walked in the room. At some points, you're like, oh, here comes Remy, you know? Yeah, he's loud.
That's pretty
Who's that?
Which I like. That was Jen's best friend, Eileen. That's Jen in the picture you see before you. By the way, Remy only wears cycling gear, and I don't think he really cycles. He is a runner, though. Anyway, but their relationship, according to Eileen, who we just saw, you could also say that if you can't remember the name Eileen, you probably can remember the phrase split ends.
Yeah.
That's just me openly being an asshole. Okay? Anyway, so
I don't know who's doing that kind of cut in upstate New York, you know?
I don't either. She looks great though. But her relationship really worked according to Eileen and all of Jen's friends. Their relationship was really good. Jen was a knitting guru. She was a Sunday school teacher, and Remy was climbing the corporate ladder at Charles Schwab and then Amex. He also ran 26 full marathons in 1 year.
How do you have the time?
That is every other weekend. 26 marathons.
That's all day.
That's actually psychotic. I don't know what you even call that besides it being a symptom of like huffing hydroxycut.
I'm going to say something that is fully wrong.
Yeah.
My boyfriend with the most hidden emotional problems that did eventually come out was a long distance runner. Would disappear for like 5 hours.
Right. What are you running from?
Uh-huh.
But if Remy had a marathon addiction, Jen, his wife, had an addiction of her own. Okay. She was addicted.
Not knitting?
No. She was addicted to an online game called Kingdoms of Camelot, which was like a very Ren Fairy RPG.
Oh, you don't need to explain what it is. It's very clear based on the title.
Right. There was like, she was like an avatar and she was like Lady Jen, which is sort of, I don't put those two things together necessarily. Like a title and then the name Jen. Mm-hmm. But okay. Anyway, she would show her best friend. What about Count
Bryan?
I'd see now that I like.
Yeah.
She would show her best friend Eileen pictures of her kingdom and her castle that she was building, but she played for like 8 hours a day. She would even miss dinner with her kids. And also her neighbors would have to come over and do her laundry because she wouldn't stop playing the game. Okay,
listen, if you showed me a still from your kingdom on a video game and you were like, I'm called Count Bryan and I'm growing corn and I have a knight and whatever you're doing in this, I would go, and then I would immediately 5150 you.
You wouldn't be jealous?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, I would find help as ASAP.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, Jen was friends with all sorts of people from this game. In fact, Jen had a special friend who was a knight, but not really. He was just a knight on the game, named Rob.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. Rob, the most British name, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Two B's?
So Rob, what'd you say?
2 B's?
Correct. No, unfortunately. No, just Rob and just Jen. Anyway, they would talk a lot because, as her friend Eileen says, in England, it's different than it is here. So it was very exciting for Jen.
Well said.
Jen would even go to the mall to smell what kind of cologne Rob wore over in England, where things are different than they are here.
But the cologne was available here? Okay.
Apparently.
Oh, so they're saying Polo Sport smells different at the Macy's here than it does at the Harrods.
Probably.
Okay.
Jen would also put on makeup and sent him pictures of herself. Now, this is a good opportunity to tell you how truly dry Jen's best friend Eileen is. Getting an opinion from her is a true blood from a stone operation. She is, to me, the fucking, what are they looking for in Indiana Jones? She's that. She's just
the goblet?
Yeah. She's that. She's just like a piece of stone that won't. She does not give a good interview. But
okay. I definitely think these are the two people who need to be referencing Indiana Jones.
Obviously. I forget what he's looking for, but anyway, yeah.
Once he's looking for a goblet, another one he's looking for another thing, and then the other one he's looking for another thing.
Pretty much. Well, here she is, a woman of a not thrilling interview.
One day I would stop by and she had makeup on. She said she was taking pictures of herself. And she would doll herself up, take pictures. And I thought, that's fine.
Great. Charisma.
Worthwhile interview. But then also someone put that in the show. So whose fault?
And by the way, someone put that in the show and then someone put that in the recap. Honestly. So actually.
But then someone set music to it.
You're right.
They try to make it seem like it was more impactful than it was.
Anyway, Rob from England, where things are different than they are here, wanted to relocate and be with Jen in New Berlin, New York. Eileen, after Jen's disappearance, felt she had no choice but to tell the police about Rob. So the police contacted Rob over in England, where things are different than they are here. Rob was married. Rob said that he and Jen did have an intimate online relationship. In fact, she would send him some of her lingerie, and he, very sexy, very romantic, and he sent her $150 to buy herself a gift. Isn't that romantic?
Very romantic. That sounds like she has an OnlyFans.
Like, if that is the person who is really pushing your buttons, someone who sends you $150 to buy yourself a Sonicare or a SodaStream. To be honest, if only American men had that sort of romanticism. But really,
things are different over there.
England is different than it is here. So Eileen told
Like,
Remy.
if he were to show her his underpants, she would have to send him $150.
It's true. Yeah. So Eileen told Remy about.
And you know how
Rob
expensive it is to send pictures over text to overseas?
Very difficult. Not to mention to mail lingerie to somebody. That actually is expensive. All the way to England.
All the way
anyway,
over there.
Eileen.
It's got to go on a boat.
Yeah. I mean, like a tugboat, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes they strap it to a pelican and say, get on over there.
And if you're really hungry, you have to tear the lingerie and use it as a fishing line. So ultimately, it's just
it often
not
doesn't make it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eileen told Remy all about Rob from England after Jen went missing because she was like, Remy should probably know about this. And Remy was furious. He could not believe his wife was wrapped up in an emotional affair with someone overseas. But guess what? Remy also had a secret. He had been having an affair himself.
Is that why she went on to corsets and shields?
Probably. Actually, no, I don't think she knew about it.
Oh.
But here's who he was having the affair with.
Oh, shit.
The affair between Remy and Eileen began nearly a year before Jen disappeared. They'd been spending lots of time together training for marathons.
Yeah.
That's when Remy had an epiphany while running in the Arizona heat.
Get ready.
And it was one of the first marathons I wanted to try and run without drinking a drop of water.
In Arizona?
So cool. I mean, what a baller.
What an idiot.
What an idiot.
I challenged myself. There was like streaks of salt on my back, and I started cramping up and hurting.
You're
but
not
I
healthy,
didn't
dude.
give up. I'm still going. And a song came on by the Christian rock band Skillet. Tomorrow's One Day Too Late.
Erin, have you ever
What's
heard
the song they're playing?
Have you
Wait,
ever
hold on.
heard? I'm rewinding it because you weren't paying attention, and this part's critical.
Eventually got that challenged myself. There was like streaks of salt on my back, and I started
understand why you tuned out
cramping
there. It was
up and
disgusting.
hurting. But I didn't give up. I'm still going. And a song came on by the Christian rock band Skillet.
Skillet.
Tomorrow's One Day Too Late.
Will tomorrow be too late?
And as I'm running, my mind just drifted, and that song hit home.
Skillet.
And I love that song. And
The song by Skillet.
The person that came to my mind was Eileen.
It's this man in the middle of a desert running without water who realizes
She's got a suspicious eyebrow.
Yeah.
The way
that
she said that.
you're the real love of his life.
I didn't know that.
Listen to this.
Wait, she didn't know that?
Please look. She didn't know that. This was before they started having the affair. That's when it dawned on him. Eileen's the love of my life.
Streaks
But look at
of
this.
salt on my back.
Please look at.
I eventually
Canning's face here.
got
Why?
that challenged myself.
Look how grossed out
There
she
was
is.
like streaks of salt on my back, and I started cramping up and hurting.
He thinks he's
but
being
I
charming.
didn't give up. I'm still
He thinks he's
going,
being
and
fucking
a song
charming.
Came on.
She is so grossed out by everything happening.
Please keep pushing play. I want to hear him say Skillet again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I'll do it.
He says band name Skillet like it's not.
Like we should know what that is. All those Christian bands, by the way, sound exactly the same.
They all sound
Nickelback.
like. Yeah, exactly.
By the Christian rock band Skillet. Tomorrow's One Day Too Late.
Will tomorrow be too late?
And as I'm
So
running,
these people are always so deep into Christianity.
Yeah.
They often are like, my church. It's like, you guys are you're actually psychotic.
I
Skillet?
honestly want to know, why did they call it their band Skillet?
Did you Google this?
I'm Googling it right now because it's so upsetting. Formed in Memphis, husband and wife duo. I did not hear the wife on that.
She just plays drums.
That's right. Yes, you're right. But it doesn't say why they're called. By the way, Skillet had a double platinum album.
This is what I mean. There's an entire America happening here that we don't even know about.
Oh my God. This is the saddest thing I've ever heard. Skillet went through several lineup changes early in their career, leaving the founder, John Cooper, as the only original member in the band. By the way, the band was him and his wife.
So she's gone.
She's
Okay, I have the
done.
answer for you because the first thing that came up on Wikipedia is why is the band Skillet called Skillet?
Okay.
Sorry, the first thing I Googled. Each starting band member was already in a separate band and all decided to start a side project. Since each other band I don't know who wrote this. Since each other band had a different sound and style to it, the side project was said to be like putting all those styles in a big skillet to come up with something
That
unique.
Is the most
this sound is not
I've ever heard in
unique.
my life. The sound is not unique. And also, Skillet, it's like, it's really so gross.
I'm looking at them and I'm like, what is when Christians have tattoos, I'm like, we've lost look at the font that they use for Skillet.
I know, I see it. It's terrible.
It's like metal cutouts.
Erin, are you ready for a Dateline
They call
Chiron
themselves
question?
a legendary Christian hard rock band. Okay, go ahead.
You ready for the first Dateline Chiron question?
Yes.
Have you ever fallen in love with someone you shouldn't have? And this one asks you to tag Andrea Canning.
Okay. Does she
Which
care?
to me, yeah. Anyway, Remy and Eileen are now in a full-blown relationship. He's even buying her clothes. He tells her not to wear them for her husband. Here's the thing, though.
What controlling weird shit is that?
Correct. And unlike Remy, he wasn't buying her, unlike Jen and Rob, he wasn't buying her lingerie when he bought her clothes. He bought her running clothes and said that she couldn't wear the running clothes in front of her husband.
Like he's going to fucking notice.
Like, what are you talking about?
I don't understand these people.
Running clothes, so romantic. Cash, running gear, so sexy.
Skillet.
Now, Eileen, Skillet, so sexy. Salt running down your back.
I've never in the entirety of having my work notifications on, have I regretted something coming up at the moment when that Skillet thing happened. But never have I thought it was more of a gift from the universe that indeed did happen and that we got to go over it several times over.
That's right. We actually haven't stopped talking about it even now. So Eileen, in a very sad portion of this, describes how she's a really weak person and that Remy was so charismatic that he really lifted her up. He made her feel unstoppable, which is something she'd never felt before.
But I disagree with this assessment of this man.
Yeah.
Okay.
The police became aware of Remy and Eileen's affair, even though he didn't tell police about it initially. And because of that, they're suddenly taking a much closer look at Remy. Meanwhile, British Rob is off the hook. He never entered the U.S., so he's off the list of suspects. They even suspected Eileen, and for a really good reason. And honestly, this revelation to me was sort of eye-opening.
Generally, you would think a husband or a male might commit murder, but women can also.
So that's why they were suspecting Eileen. Isn't that amazing? That blew my mind.
Happy Women's History Month.
That really, really blew my mind. Women can too.
Andrea Canning, how does she sit there and just like, she looks like she hates it.
I know.
But she's hiding it very well.
Anyway, they have Eileen take a polygraph, but it's inconclusive, so they don't know what the hell happened. On February 22nd, 2013, so just a few months after Jen went missing, they end up finding her body. And we have another Dateline Chiron question. And I can't remember why this came up. Have you ever had to have a difficult conversation with a child? This one does not want you to tag Andrea. It wants you to tag Dateline.
What?
And I'll tell you why. Andrea, I don't know that she's ever actually had difficult conversations with her child, but the idea that someone...
You mean her 12 children?
Her 12 children, her brood. Yeah. The idea that someone would ask her if she has is enough. She does not want to think about her kids when she's on
But does
X.
anyone watching this show want to think about that?
Probably not.
We're already talking about a woman.
You're right, actually.
Like, it's like, have you ever watched a dog die? What are we doing here?
I know. On the day, by the way, on the day Jin's body was discovered, Remy called the local news media over to his house to tell them that she was found and that she was dead, which is sort of an odd thing to do.
It's
and suddenly,
very,
what should call the press?
It's very,
and do an interview where you're crying.
Very Gone Girl.
Yeah. Suddenly, the entire town thinks Eileen and Remy did it. And by the entire town, I mean like 10 other people.
Yes.
Which ended up bringing them a lot closer as boyfriend and girlfriend, because now they're like boyfriend, girlfriend.
No, it's called trauma bonding. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. But on Remy's Facebook page, he's starting to take a lot of swipes at his now deceased wife, Jen, saying she wasn't a good mother during the Kingdoms of Camelot era. Okay. And he's oversharing a lot about the mistakes she made as a wife and mother, which is...
He's on Facebook. Why is he not with his children?
Correct. So the message she was trying to get out there was that she wasn't who people thought she was. And he kind of started blaming a lot on Jen, which is a weird thing to do, especially after she's, no longer living. So in their investigation, the police find out that on the day Jen went missing, when she was supposedly at the mall, her phone was pinged at home, not at the mall. Meaning, she probably didn't go to the mall. They look at surveillance tapes also around town because Remy's alibi was that he was on a run. And he was like, oh, you could check the tapes all over town. I ran by this place, like check all their tapes. So they did check all these businesses' surveillance footage. He's not on one of them at the times that he said he was running. And they came up with nothing, no footage. They now believe Remy lied about what he was doing that morning, okay? Which probably means that he wasn't watching his wife eat Chobani and Kashi and playing with her iPad Touch.
So those were all made up?
Possibly. It's almost one of those things where it's a little too much detail, you know what I mean? Like it's being like, no, I was in bed over the top sheet, which was unusual for me, but still under the duvet, I had just stuffed it, you know? So Eileen was at work in the morning that day, but not in the afternoon. She's completely unaccounted for in the afternoon, which means she might not have been involved in the actual murder, but she could have been, according to that timeline, involved in the cover-up. But Eileen had given them everything she had. She had left it on the floor for investigators. And it definitely never crossed her mind that Remy could ever do this to Jen. So the medical examiner's report finally comes out, and it rules out that this death was not by natural causes or even accidental causes or even, self-harm or suicide. They also found blood on Remy's sweatshirt from that day, but couldn't decipher whose blood it was. Because I guess it had been washed or something. But all of this combined is enough to book and arrest Remy. Now, also around this time, detectives had completely cleared Eileen, did not believe she had any involvement. But Eileen and Remy did sustain their relationship while he was in jail, and he tried to convince her to move in with his kids. In fact, he called her over 2,000 times.
But he wasn't going to be there?
No, because he was in jail.
Oh, right. Oh.
I mean, awaiting trial.
I see.
But he was in jail in the meantime, and he called her over 2,000 times before his trial while he was in jail to convince her to do that, but she didn't. Okay. We're finally at the trial. Eileen testified for the prosecution during the trial. Her biggest bombshell was that the day of Jen's murder, Remy didn't invite her in to have sex with him. And that was very typical. I know. It was highly unusual, Eileen said. He was like, okay, bye. And she was like, you forgot to ask me something. And he was like, what? You forgot to invite me in to have sex with you? And he's like, oh, that's not happening today. And she said that was very, very odd.
You know what she should have said to him when he said that's not happening today? She should have said tomorrow's too late.
Tomorrow is too late. Absolutely. She said, and you're going to.
Do you want to start a Christian rock band with me?
Right.
Okay. No, I'm asking you. Do you want to start a Christian rock band with me?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Remy had also said that he'd been working from home on his computer the day of Jen's murder, but that also was not true. There was no evidence of him doing anything on his computer that day. The prosecutor's theory is that he killed his wife at home, put her body in the van, and then got rid of her body and planted the phone by the river, because he, after all, was the one who found it. He then ran a mile from there to the YMCA. The only place he's on camera is at the YMCA. Plus, as I mentioned before, it was Remy who found the phone the next day. Rob from England even testified over Skype and talked about how he was concerned because Jen, out of nowhere, had left the Kingdoms of Camelot game early that day, which she never did, and without explanation. Okay? And that's not an American thing, even though things there are different than they are here.
Yeah.
It was unlike her, Jen, an American.
Well, I find it so funny that there's so many different things about America and England, yet both of these people are on Camelot and corsets all day long.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Remy, for the defense side, is absolutely his own worst enemy. He testifies, cannot stop talking. He's not answering the questions directly. He's screaming, he's ranting, he's raving. The prosecution is screaming at him. Remy could not help himself. It only hurt himself. We don't see everything he says in the courtroom. But if it's anything like what he said here to Andrea, I am positive that the jury was left seething, uncomfortable, and jaws on the floor.
Did you have a plan to kill your wife?
Of course not.
Is this all about Remy? Remy wanted to have the life he wanted.
Whoa, that's where you're absolutely wrong. I had the perfect life. Had a wife, had a girlfriend, had kids. I have everything anyone would want. The worst thing to have ever happened to me is Jen go missing. Absolutely worst.
The way to not get a jury on your side is to say I had the perfect life. I had a wife. I had a girlfriend. Like, that doesn't really get people on your side.
What kind of toxic masculinity shit is this?
Right.
I'm bragging about it and be like, bro, you get it. Bro, you know.
The only other person who really was Remy's worst enemy was his defense attorney, Gilberto Garcia, who is shocking. He was completely incompetent. He didn't gather any witnesses for Remy. He had never tried a murder case before. In fact, he'd only ever tried one criminal case before, but he withdrew from it before it was even finished because he said he wasn't competent enough to represent his client. He would print out info from Google on general concepts on forensics and basic things about murder. He would ask witnesses in cross-examination different questions basically to inform himself. Like, he would say to them, like, why do you think Remy did it? So that he could understand the case more. Horrible. Because he didn't have a basic understanding of what the prosecution was even going for. One of the experts said something that did sting me to my core. And I think, by the way, she was looking right at me when she said it. When she was describing the prosecutor, and I honestly felt like I was on trial when she did it.
It's like somebody who's an avid Dateline fan all of a sudden thinking, okay, I'm going to handle this 4-week-long murder trial.
See? How dare she?
This team, I am down with this team. This team is my team.
They're great. Okay, so horrible. Remy's family paid Remy's attorney more than $100,000, most of it for expert witnesses, but at no point did his attorney, Gilberto Garcia, call one expert witness to testify. Do you want to see some clips of his work on this trial?
Of course I do.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness, if I would have had a pan, I would have hit him in the head with it. I was so frustrated.
He's talking about his own client's testimony.
Because, he's not the flow witness that every lawyer dreams of. He was eager to tell more than he had to by the questions. I understood him. You can judge him.
What?
It's possible that he could have done it.
It's possible he could have done it.
I've asked myself that question 1,000,000 times. Is it possible Remy
Look at the lawyer.
That's not
the
enough.
lawyer sitting down, he's laughing.
It's not enough.
Remy's new lawyer said the nearly 2-hour summation was confusing and ineffective.
2 hours?
Paint this red.
We're going to paint the walls red.
And it will be red at the end. If there is a reasonable let's move on. I'm not going to go there. This little thing.
He literally said if there's a reasonable hypothesis, he could have, let's not go there. And then he
2 hours. 2 hours? Why was it allowed?
The nearly 2-hour summation was confusing and ineffective.
We're going to paint this red. And it will be red at the end. If there is a reasonable let's move on. I'm not going to go there. This little thing.
Look at that.
Can be a killer.
According to Hammond and Swartz, the incompetence added up to an unfair trial.
Get this.
Wow.
So this guy is truly one of the worst. After the trial, Remy is sentenced.
That's an SNL character, what he did.
Completely.
Okay.
After the trial, Remy is sentenced 25 years to life. But Remy hired new attorneys, the two people you like so much you just saw, with his son's help.
Those were his new ones?
Yes. His son, by the way, a true angel, Remy's son and Jen's son. Helps him while he's in prison to try and get new lawyers. They take it before a judge and ask for a 440 motion, which is incredibly rare to grant. So a 440 motion, learning things all the time, is when a person's lawyer
is that guy?
Was so terrible and incompetent that they deserve a new trial. And in a rare move, the court actually agreed and granted Remy a new trial. By the way, even the prosecutors of the case agreed with that decision. They thought Remy should have a new trial because it honestly wasn't fair that this guy was a true clown up there not knowing what to do. They still believed Remy was guilty, but they were like, we've never truly seen such incompetence in our lives. And also Garcia, meanwhile, the first attorney, was censured by the New York Office of Attorney Ethics because they also found him incompetent to do this sort of thing. But anyway, so new evidence comes in for the second trial for both the prosecution. The prosecution's new evidence is a blow-by-blow of Jen's day from Jen to Rob in a series of voicemails, literally being like, I woke up and I walked to the kitchen. I mean, it's the most specific detail you can imagine. But she never once mentions that she's going shopping, even though she's telling him every single thing that she's going to do that day. So that wasn't in there. And new evidence for the defense, a witness who had seen someone driving the red minivan the afternoon of Jen's murder when Remy was conclusively at home, without a doubt. Also, male DNA was found under Jen's nails. And while they couldn't get a full DNA description of the male DNA under her nails, conclusively, it was not Remy's DNA. So, crazy. All of this combined, it leads to sort of a nothing ending because it all led to a plea deal. The prosecutors were willing to do a plea deal. They took it to Jen's family. They took the plea deal to Jen's family. Jen's family said, we want him to do some time because they were nervous with the DNA thing and all this, that they were not, that the verdict could have just as likely been not guilty as guilty. So he took a plea. He got a reduced sentence of manslaughter in October 2023, so just like 5 months ago, which will release him from jail in 8 years. And he does not stop talking. Here's one last clip.
Thank
of
you.
Motormouth himself.
Thank
which,
you.
by the way, I'll tell you after.
Ben told me this.
How has it been for you sitting in a cell day after day, as you clearly have so much bottled up? Is this all you think about all day long?
Not at all. Prison is easy. You don't understand. There's so much freedom in prison. It's crazy to say. I'm a guy, Mr. Corporate America, Charles Schwab and Company, American Express, IBM. Prison is freedom. Look, I have never done.
What are you talking about?
You have no idea. Have you ever been in prison? It is hilarious.
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
Is he wearing an orange sweater also?
Sweatshirt. He must be in some really high collar minimum security. Meanwhile, he's in there for fucking manslaughter.
He's yelling at her that he's having a great time.
Yelling at her. So anyway, the Motormouth never stopped. I have to be honest with you.
They should have called it Motormouth.
They should have called him Motormouth. This I will give him. He would make a wonderful spokesperson for like a local mattress company.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Mattress Mac.
Screaming at
I don't
people
think that
like
means anything to you, but
he would be perfect at it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the perfect life. What sucks is there is clearly reasonable doubt. I think especially with the DNA, like that's hard to get over. But if he didn't do it, who did? Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. He's doing the time.
That's what every Dateline should be, is like, who cares in this episode?
Yeah, who really cares?
Who actually cares?
Nobody. Anyway.
Did the best friend have anything to say? She seems like not remorseful at all that she was having an affair with her best friend's husband.
She said she felt bad and sad.
Cool.
Anyway, I really hope record sales go up for you-know-who, Skillet.
Skillet?
Yeah.
Can I just see if there's any other songs that they have besides that one?
Daughtry. They also sound like Daughtry. Remember Daughtry?
Oh, Skillet songs. Oh, there's something called Psycho in My Head.
I wish there was something called like Eggs, Bacon, and All the Fixins. You know what I mean?
Here,
like if you're going to call yourself Skillet.
Okay, hold on. Let me just read their songs.
They also, go ahead. Because Sergio just put one in there, but I'll see if you read it in your list.
Monster, Hero, Awake and Alive, Not Gonna Die, Comatose, The Resistance.
Apparently they have a newer song called 1,000-Foot Crutch.
What about Circus for a Psycho? Falling Inside the Black? These people are depressed. I'm sorry.
Or they're so happy that they're trying to find a way to depress.
It sounds like it's like fake Nine Inch Nails. It's like, I actually don't understand despair, but I'm going to pretend I do.
Exactly.
They feel sad and mad for sure.
Anyway, Erin,
they feel sad and bad. Skillet, sad and bad.
With your electric guitar.
I can't wait.
Me too.
It's a beautiful Fender.
Definitely.
Can't wait. I fend off the devil with it.
Thank you.
With my 5 chord harmony, because I know.
Thank you. Thank you.